What is up, my entertainment junkies? Okay, and I'm gonna be reacting to why does the U.S. spend so much in healthcare? From my understanding, what it is one, it's free healthcare good. Yeah. You have to think about it this way: if something's free, people are more likely to use it and abuse it, even when they don't need to, for attention or whatever. So should it be free? I do not believe it, but I do agree it is too high. From my understanding of stuff that I heard and read before, the reason that it's so high is because insurance. Insurance companies are a scam. I don't care what anybody thinks. They are the worst companies that you have to survive. How does that affect the medical uh, prices? Well, they wanted bundles and deals, and I need to add air quotes to my freaking avatar, about getting money so that they can pretend to save money or have illusion. So what the hospital did was jack up all the prices and give them the reduced amount that would be about the same amount as it would have been normally if with everything pre-planned. Problem with that is if you don't have insurance, now you're paying that jacked up prices. And also for my non-Americans out there who think if we have insurance we're good, we don't pay anything. No, insurance dictates what operations you can have, what medications you can be on, even if your doctor prescribes it, and all this other bullshit. And most insurances have copay fees. What does that mean? Oh, we'll pay this amount, but you have to pay this amount. And copay fees can range from like 500 to 2 grand. Now I think medical pregnancies are like 5 grand with all the copay fees. So yeah, insurance it's a scam. It's fucked up, and it's why we have such high prices with the medical field. Let's see what this 6-minute video says.
The United States spends almost twice as much on healthcare as a percentage of the economy as any other advanced industrialized countries, totaling $3.3 trillion or 17.9% of gross domestic product in 2016. This is no surprise to those of you who watch healthcare trends. But a few decades ago, American healthcare spending was much closer to that of peer nations. What happened? That's the topic of this week's healthcare trend.
Oh yeah, and I should also say one more bad thing about free healthcare. It is controlled by the government. And there is a story of a child in somewhere in Europe. I believe it was Britain. I could be wrong. The government decided no, he's too much of a liability to keep alive, even though the parents, everybody wanted him to survive. So they decided to end his treatment of a baby and essentially killing him. The worst part about this, and Italy, I believe it was Italy, said he is now a citizen of our country. We will take care of all of his doctor's fees. He'll move here. Nope. The government still said, nah, the child's not making it. We decide that we're done with treatment. He's gonna die. That's what free healthcare gets. They can decide who lives, who dies, who gets what treatment. And if you see how polarized America is, that is not a good thing. The dollar holds a lot. Also, like I said, that people will use and abuse it. That means longer wait times, wasting your time, and wasting valuable time of people who need these life-saving surgeries and need these checkups to see if their life is in danger. You can get bumped up in the queue by incentivizing, mostly with dollars. Pretty much, I'm not even beating around the bush. Pretty much, bribery is going to be a common occurrence to get you bumped up in line. It's all fucked up. So, let's continue.
Special thanks to Austin Frank Takuro with me, the Upshot column from which we adapted this episode. A large part of the answer can be found in the title of a 2003 paper in Health Affairs by the Princeton University health economist Uwe Ryan. It's the prices, stupid. The study found that people in the United States typically use about the same amount of healthcare as people in other wealthy countries do, but they pay a lot more for it. A recent study in JAMA also points to prices as a likely culprit. That study spanned from 1996 to 2013 and analyzed U.S. personal health spending by the size of the population.
Okay. I am not normally for U.S. Government intervention in prices and privatized business. But whenever you have a necessity like a hospital and you need to survive and you know you will pay whatever amount you need to survive, they can price gouge the fuck out of you. So I guess healthcare would be one of the only things I would agree needs to be regulated.
Its age and the amount of disease present in it. It also examined how much healthcare we use in terms of such things as doctor visits, days in the hospital, prescriptions. It looked at what happens during those visits and hospital stays, called care intensity, combined with the price of that care.
I do have to mention that most of the time the hospital and the hospital does not give you the majority of your drugs. Only the drugs needed for your stay at the hospital. Most of your drugs are going to come from CVS, Walgreens, Walmart, separate private pharmacies. With very few exceptions, you're going to get them separate private pharmacies. So, it's just the medical field in general. Like, even the drugstore prices, I can understand that more because more money you sink into these, into big pharma, the more medical technology they can make, and more drugs they can test and come out with, and the more lives can be saved. But there is still a limit, and I guess that needs to be regulated too, because it's literally, I either pay this or I die. So
researchers looked at the breakdown for 155 different health conditions separately. Since their data included only personal healthcare spending, it did not account for spending in the health sector not directly attributed to care of patients, like hospital construction and administrative costs connected to running things like Medicare and Medicaid. Overall, the researchers found that American personal health spending grew by about $930 billion between 1996 and 2013, from 1.2 trillion to 2.1 trillion, amounts adjusted for inflation. This was a huge increase, far outpacing overall economic growth. The health sector grew at a 4%.
I said 96 to 2023, right?
The health sector.
Back. 2013. Alright, let's do some digging. Average life expectancy. I can't spell today. $1996. 76.1 years. 2013. 7-year gap, right? No, 2-year gap. Okay, but still, a 2-year gap is actually a big difference because let's go with, how much is that? It's gonna be 17 years. So 79. Is that lower? 3 years. 79 minus 13 would be 66. 62 years. Alright. I'm pretty sure if we go back, keep going back on this trend of every 2 years, the gap is going to be... You know what? Life expectancy in the U.S. 1900 to present line graph. Because if I'm right about what I'm thinking, this is gonna be... Yeah. So this is... not what I'm looking for. Alright, yeah, this is what I'm looking for. Okay, influenza, so that's understandable why life expectancy dipped. But you see it's getting these big jumps and dips, and then it stagnates, and then the curve is slowly flattening. So any increase, eventually it's going to be a zero sum. And increase is going to completely stop. It looks like it's being incremental. And what was 2013's was 78. See what it is at now. 2024. 79. So we're still increasing in health. Granted, we should probably look at other countries in the EU, 1900 to present. Huh. Oh, they separated by women and men. That might make a difference if I actually cared. Nope, pull this picture up. 1900s is where we start. Yellow is Americas, so that tracks. Europe, purple. So, currently it looks like they're about equal, a little bit above us. But their growth is weird. It's normal, somewhat normal, and dip in 2018, I think. Yeah, so take that graph and that's the data. You saw it for yourself. I looked at it.
Overall economic growth. The health sector grew at a 4% annual rate, while the overall economy grew at a 2.4% rate. You'd expect some growth.
Oh, look. You think that's bad. Look at the fucking housing market.
Size and the aging of the population. But that explains less than half of the spending growth. After accounting for these kinds of demographic factors, which we can do very little about, health spending still grew by about $574 billion from 1996 to 2013. Did the increasing sickness in the American population explain much of the rest of the growth?
Obesity?
Nope. Measured by how much we spend, we've actually gotten a bit healthier. Change in health status was associated with a decrease in health spend, 2.4%, not an increase. A great deal of this decrease can be attributed to factors related to cardiovascular diseases.
Greasy foods, fast food.
20% reduction in spending. These could be the result of greater use of statins
Oh.
for cholesterol or reduced smoking.
I do have to mention this. You go to McDonald's here, you drink the Coca-Colas here. We have so much chemical in our food and drinks that in the other countries, even the same products are not the same and are healthier. Granted, Coke in Europe is still not exactly healthy for you, but it's a lot better than the chemical corn syrup mixture that we have here. But yeah, it's we have so many chemicals in our food because we're not watching what we eat. We don't care that we go to McDonald's every night for dinner. We don't care that we go to Burger King, which is pretty much just grease. We just eat, we get fat, or we don't, but we're still putting all those chemicals in our body. It is not healthy. The big farms, not all farms, privatized farms are normally good on taking care of their animals, but big farms are feeding them slop just to get them fatter, faster, and ready for slaughter.
Rates, though the study didn't point to specific causes. On the other hand, increases in diabetes and low back and neck pain were associated with spending growth, but not enough to offset the decreases from cardiovascular and other diseases.
We wouldn't have diabetes if we were healthier.
No.
Type 2 at least.
More doctor visits and use more prescription drugs. These tend to be less costly than hospital stays, so on balance, changes in healthcare use were associated with a minor reduction, 2.5%, in healthcare spending. That leaves what happens during healthcare visits and hospital stays, care intensity, and the price of those services and procedures. Did we do more for patients in each health visit or inpatient stay? Did we charge more?
Do we have more advanced technologies?
For 63% of the increase in spending from 1996 to 2013. In other words, most of the explanation for American health spending growth and why it is pulled away from health spending in other countries is that more is done for patients during hospital stays and doctor visits. They're being charged more for service or both. Though the JAMA study could not
charge more for
care
service.
intensity and price, other research blames prices more. For example, one study found that the spending growth for treating patients between 2003 and 2007 is almost entirely because of the growth in prices, with little contribution from growth in the quantity of treatment.
Okay, I can almost guarantee you that these people are telling half-truths. Yeah, are they doing about the same or less? Probably. Are they getting more advanced medical equipment? Upkeep of that medical equipment? The doctors' trainings are getting more expensive? No matter how you look at it, not all these things are 100% one side of the story. There are always going to be multiple factors affecting anything.
Services provided. Another study found that U.S. hospital prices are 60% higher than those in Europe. Other studies also point to prices as a major factor in American healthcare spending. There are ways to combat high healthcare prices. One is an all-payer system, like that seen in Maryland. This regulates prices so that all insurers and public programs pay the same amount. A single-payer system could also...
Yeah, like I said, normally I'm against this kind of government information government outreach, but whenever it's literally affecting something that where you either have it, you live, or you die, and mind you, food's not even this way. But if it affects whether you live or die, yeah, because then it's easier to take advantage. Why is food different? Because you can go out, grow your own crops, go hunt your own meat, raise your own chicken, stuff like that. So even if the prices get outrageous, you can still survive. It's going to take more work, but you can still survive. So it's not a matter of life or death. It's a matter of if you want convenience or cheap. With healthcare, you can't go out and make your own set of metafin or penicillin or other life-saving drugs. It's literally, you are dependent on those companies to make it. Mostly because if you make it at home, you're also going to go to jail for handling controlled substances.
To regulate prices. If attempted nationally or even in a state, either of these will be met with resistance from all those who directly benefit from high prices.
Yep.
Including physicians, hospitals, pharmaceutical companies, and pretty much every other provider of healthcare in the United States. Higher prices aren't all bad for consumers. They probably lead to some increased innovation, which confers benefits to patients globally. Though it's reasonable to push back on high healthcare prices, there may be a limit to how far we should. We love to make videos about
Hey, I like this guy. He's more open-minded.
Like to sell to advertisers. We're
Alright.
fine
Wait.
with that because what we do is more important than the money we might make. That said, any support you can give us to help
Okay, 6 years ago, so that's the end of the video. If he does have a advertisement, he's no longer affected, so I don't care. But yeah, it's not all black and white. Should we have our government overreach into the healthcare? Either that, or make it to where we can make our own drugs, and that knowledge is somewhat available. Hell, that'd probably stop drug crime too. That's a good idea. Why the American crime system is fucked up. I might do that one later. So, if you liked the video, thumbs up. If you didn't, thumbs down. Subscribe to see more, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.